Hi, so today is quite an exciting day because I'm going to finish Because of Mr. Terupt. I'm on page 252, and it starts with Jessica, final act, scene 2. All day long, I fought back tears, and now tears streamed down my face. I couldn't believe it. Mr. Terupt made it. He was here. He was okay. We rushed out of our seats, our bodies pressed together in a giant class hug. I missed you, he said. We missed you too, we shouted. I love you guys, he said, bending down to our level. He looked at each one of us and hugged us one by one. He hugged me. I love you, Mr. Terupt, I said. The words danced out of my mouth. I love you too, Jessica. We hugged some more, and then Mr. Terupt spotted Peter. Peter hadn't been a part of the hug. He was still sitting in his seat, probably too scared to move, too frightened to think of what Mr. Terupt might say or do to him. Mr. Terupt stood up and walked over to Peter. We watched, and he taught us like he did every day we were with him. He showed us how to forgive Luke. Miss Williams spoke up. Boys and girls, I do have an announcement before I leave you with your teacher, she smiled. The school board has decided that next year will be an experimental year. We're going to try looping in one classroom. What's that, Anna asked. Looping is when a class and a teacher move on to the next grade together, Miss Williams said. It got real quiet. It got quiet real fast. Real quiet. Hold your breath quiet. Was everyone wondering the same thing? I looked around. Jessica smiled and nodded at me. Boys and girls, next year your class will be looping, Miss Williams says. With Mr. Terupt, Anna asked. Yes, Mr. Terupt answered. We jumped and screamed and hooted and hollered. I saw Mrs. Williams headed toward the door. I ran over to her. Miss Williams, I said. As she was about to leave, she turned around. Yes, Luke? Thank you, I said. Then I felt a sudden quietness. Sorry, people, keep texting. Then I felt a sudden quietness behind me. The rest of the class stopped and took notice of Miss Williams. Thank you, Miss Williams, the voices called. She looked at Mr. Terupt. I was close enough to hear her say, There's magic in this room with you here, Mr. Terupt, magic. She hugged him and left. Alexia, Teach made it. He showed up on the last day of school with no warning. It was the biggest surprise ever. Everyone ran over and hugged him. Then Teach went over and hugged Peter. I liked Teach so much when he did that. It made me think of the day he took me out into the hall. Teach knew how to be nice. He didn't say one thing and do another. Not Teach. After things calmed down, I went up to him. I've been being nice now, Teach, I said. You'd be proud. You've always been nice, Lex, he said. You just figured out how to show it. But you're right. I am very proud of you. I can't wait till next year, I said. I can't wait either. I missed you. Then I hugged Teach again. I love you, Teach, I said. I love you too. So now it's wait till next year and I can't. Jeffrey. Sometimes school can actually be great, and next year's gonna be just that, because Terupt's back. I didn't think he was gonna make it. I thought he was gonna die, like Michael did. I tried to help Michael, and it didn't work. I don't know if I helped Terupt at all, but he made it. I ran and got help when he fell into the snow. I ran inside and got the nurses and made them call 911, and I got Miss Williams. I did that. Was that enough? And we just learned that we didn't know who actually did all of those things, but it was Jeffrey. I watched Terupt hug Peter. He didn't blame anyone. Jessica told me that it wasn't my fault that Michael died. Maybe you just do the best you can because you can't control what happens in the end. I guess it's okay to hope for things. Sometimes it works out. Slowly, I'm getting my mom and dad back. There isn't silence between us anymore, though they still don't talk to each other very much. Mom is out of her pajamas, but never out of the house. That's okay for now. She's starting to get better like me and Dad. I hope things get better between them. I miss my brother, but I'm real glad we got Terupt back, and I think I found some reason for all this. I never would have been the one to break the silence between me and Mom and me and Dad if it weren't for Terupt's accident. I wanted so bad to tell him how much I loved him and didn't know if I'd get the chance when he was in that coma. And that was when I knew I didn't want to miss the chance with my parents, so I broke the silence. I'm glad too. I'm happy. Anna. The last day turned out to be a great day. Mr. Terupt made it. I've never felt so happy. My throat, my heart, my belly, all burned with happiness and probably relief too. And then we found out about this looping thing, and I felt that good hurt inside all over again. Bus 9 is now loading. The call came over the speakers. See you soon, Mr. Terupt, I said. I ran over and gave him another quick hug. Have a good summer. You too, Anna, he said. And Mr. Terupt, I looked at him and he looked down at me. I think Miss Newberry might have the hots for you in case you wondered, I smiled. He smiled back. Matchmaker Anna. Thanks for the tip. Bus 9, last call for Bus 9, the loudspeaker announced. I hurried out of room 202 with my head held high. I never made it to Bus 9, though. I went downstairs to the lobby and ran into Mom and Charlie. Hey, kiddo, Charlie said. Hi, guys, I said. Are you here to pick up Danielle, too? She's still upstairs. I barely got the words out of my mouth before I saw the answer to my question. Danielle's mother walked into the lobby. She spotted us right away. Hi, Mrs. Roberts, I said, finding no small amount of courage. Would you like me to go upstairs and get Danielle for you? Not needed. Danielle came through the stairwell door and entered the lobby. She took a second look at everyone. Then she and I exchanged a knowing glance, bracing ourselves for whatever happened next. There would be no disappointments on this day. It was a day of happiness and celebration. Hi, Mrs. Roberts, Mom said, offering her hand to shake. I'm Terry Adams, and this is my daughter, Anna. We didn't meet properly at the hospital. We'd love to have you and Danielle come over this afternoon for a cup of coffee or tea and some hangout time for the girls. The ball lay in Mrs. Roberts' court now. That means it's her choice to decide. So if I text you, and then the ball's in your court because it's your chance to text me. So that's what that means. I let my breath out when I saw her shake Mom's hand. Please call me Susan, she said. Danielle and I would be happy to come over. She glanced at Danielle, who nodded excitedly, but without hiding the shock on her face. Then Miss Roberts looked at Charlie. Mr. Terupt came into the lobby at some point during all this and gave Danielle and me a thumbs-up sign. It was as if he knew the whole story, did he? We waved goodbye to the best teacher in the whole wide world. Danielle. It started with an old friend, Alexia, who wasn't really a friend, and then came this new girl, Jessica, who I liked but was not told not to like. Somewhere in the middle, I became friends with Anna. We worked with the collaborative classroom on this huge Ramadan project, and that old friend, who I figured out wasn't a friend at all, was kind of on her own. I had Jessica and Anna. Then the accident happened. While Jeffrey ran for help, I held Mr. Terupt's head, putting my coat and hat under it so that it wasn't lying on the cold snow. So we learned something new, too. I went to visit Mr. Terupt in the hospital with Jessica and Anna and found an old friend there. Alexia was Lexi again, so do you notice they changed her name when she was more herself? Alexia to Lexi. Except new and improved. James left, but he made us see Peter again. I'm just going to check in the book if they change what they call Lexi and Alexia. Oh, it's always Alexia in the book. Sorry. But he made us see Peter again. And then we played the wait and see game until today. Today, Mr. Terupt came back. And then we found out we were looping. And we will get to be with him again next year. I can't wait to tell Grandma the news. She's the one who helped me when things got tough. And she said a lot of prayers for us. I don't think I'll tell Grandma about the end of the day news, though. I'll leave that up to Mom. I just wish Anna a great summer and watched her head out of the classroom to catch the bus when Mr. Terupt said, Danielle, I see your mother walking across the parking lot. He was looking at our window. She must be here to pick you up. Okay, thanks, I said. I grabbed my stuff. Have a great summer. I can't wait for the fall. Bye, Danielle, he said. I ran over and hugged him once more. I'm so glad you're back, I told him. I let go, looked into his face, then hurried downstairs. I got down to the lobby and saw everyone. Mom, Charlie, Anna, Terry. Was Charlie with Mom or with Terry? Oh, boy, I thought, but things worked out. Mom shook Terry's hand and accepted her invitation for coffee. Mom looked at Charlie after that, but didn't say anything or make any sort of face. She was going to try really hard for us. As we were leaving, Mr. Terupt gave us a thumbs-up sign. How long had he been watching? How much did he know? Dear God, it's Danielle down here, full of love. Thanks for giving me my teacher back and again for next year. And thanks for helping my mom give Terry and Anna a chance. Maybe now you can work on Grandma. She's going to be a lot tougher to persuade. Amen. P.S. I'm sorry I got mad at you. Peter. Out of nowhere, I heard the screams. Mr. Terupt! Everyone around me jumped up and ran toward the door. I couldn't believe it. Mr. T was back. I started crying. Mr. T was alive. He was here. I stayed in my seat, trying to look small. Because remember, think about that. Peter probably thought he was dead. That would be a terrible feeling to have. That you caused it. The room grew quiet. I trying to look small, but he spotted me. The room grew quiet as Mr. T walked toward me. I was scared again. Mr. T got down on his knees and looked directly into my eyes. Then came the best hug I've ever felt. Mr. T wrapped his arms around me and gave me a huge squeeze. I squeezed him back as tight as I could. My body shook and I sniffed up my snotty nose. It's okay, Peter, he whispered in my ear. I forgive you. Suddenly I felt lighter, a lot lighter. It was a bird in that guilt. Jessica, final act, final scene. I realized something. It's not California I long for anymore, or even Dad. It's 6th grade and another year with Mr. Terupt. I wanted to ask him about his family and tell him to let Miss Newberry get close because she truly cares about him, but now isn't the time. There will be lots of opportunities for that when school starts up again. I need to enjoy this curtain call. So that would be the curtain call. It would be the curtain closes at the end. I've read a lot of books, but I think ours is a great story, and I know Mr. Terupt would agree. It's a happy ending. So we are on the last page, and I want you to think of who you believe will be the last person to read. So I'm going to pause for a second so that you can think of that. Okay, Luke is who finishes the book. Luke. I remember thinking 6th grade. We're going to be 6th graders, and Mr. Terupt is going to be my teacher, our teacher. I thought of Miss Williams' word magic. I looked at Mr. Terupt sitting with some of my classmates, and I thought, she's right, there will be magic. He's my teacher, the dollar word man. And Terupt, spelled T-E-R-U-P-T, is a dollar word. So if you add up all of those letters, remember every letter of the alphabet is worth something. So A would be 1, Z would be 26. If you add up all the letters of T-E-R-U-P-T, it's a dollar word, which means it would equal 100. So we finished the book. I am now going to read the first page of... I'm just going to read the first page of the second book, which is called Mr. Terupt Falls Again. And I'm going to do something that I normally don't do. So if you listen to the whole book and you get to this part, if you send me an email with your name and like thoughts in the book, I will enter you in a raffle, and there might only be 1 or 2 of you that enter. And the winner, if I pull your name out of a hat, I will send you the second book. I will have it Amazon to your house. So you would get the second book. So I'm going to read that first page of the second book. Peter, it was one of those farts that stunk so bad you could taste it. One of those that made your eyes water and forced you to tuck your nose into your shirt collar. It must have been hot and steamy coming out because there's no other explanation for the horrid stench. I know, it sounds like your classic silent but deadly. It wasn't. Her fart ripped like a firecracker when it went off. That's right, it wasn't me. It was Lexi. She dropped her stink bomb one day during summer when we were helping Mr. T move our old classroom down to the 6th grade annex. After last year, I wanted to spend all my time with Mr. T. I didn't want a day to go by that I wasn't with him. That's why I spent my summer vacation helping him move. Besides, Mom and Dad weren't around. They were working all the time, even in the summer. Business called. And my older brother Richard was off doing his own thing, which was DJing. He had his own equipment and did small parties, birthdays mostly. It wasn't like we need the money, and Mom and Dad didn't force him to get a job, but that's what he did. He said it helped him get the girls. So I'm going to stop there. So that was the first page of the second book called Mr. Terupt Falls Again. So if you want to find out what happens in year 6 or 6th grade, send me an email with your thoughts in the book, and I'll wait a few days, and after I have some entries, then I will pick a winner and email or send you the book. So, bye!